Extreme Collectibles, going to tell you about this piece. It was ready to ship or about to ship in January of 2019, and I just got it yesterday. Today is July 20th, 2019. So it was a very frustrating time. And long story short, the group that it's from, it's the same group that made my fastball special. I actually have another piece arriving Monday from them. It was supposed to arrive yesterday, but apparently FedEx works 16-hour days. They put it on the truck and then show up after the office is closed. But apparently there were some issues with the factory, and it was just really frustrating. But really, hats off to the commissioning group. They delivered as promised, and just let the cat out of the bag. They delivered a statue that not only did I have high hopes for, but it exceeded those high hopes. So let's dive in and find out why. Extreme Collectibles with another addition to my famous X-Men line. And everyone, I keep talking about I'm having this huge X-Men display, this huge X-Men wall. I actually started building some of it this morning, and either next weekend or this weekend I'll get approximately a third of the display done. But here's a little teaser. Here's some of the actual pieces. These are the heroes. I have a few other ones I couldn't get in here, and then I have a lot of villains too, but this is kind of a teaser if you haven't seen this picture on Facebook yet. So I purchased her to add to my line. Of course, it's a Sentinel. It's a custom quarter-scale Psylocke vs. Sentinel piece. Again, custom, we don't talk about where they come from. They made, it was either 60 or 65, I can't remember, because when I pulled this out of the box, I stared at the base for like 15 minutes because I loved it so much. I wasn't staring at the bottom. There's some kind of joke about staring at a bottom in there. But price was, I think, around $800 or $900 plus shipping, so pretty standard for a large quarter-scale custom piece. Really excited adding her to the X-Men collection. I do have another custom Psylocke vs. Sentinel. It's the one where she's cutting the hand in half. And that one, to me, the prints looked better than this, but in person, like I said, this looks amazing. So it's going to be interesting to see which one is the winner. Pretty much all of my X-Men pieces, I have multiple either already here or multiple on order. And some of them, like these secondary characters, I'm planning on kind of doing some showdowns. So I'll actually do YouTube videos you guys can see, and I'll see which one is better, and I'll sell, you know, the one that's not as good. Or if they're amazing, I'll probably keep both. And this is looking like it might be that situation. So anyway, purchased her. Came in standard custom box. It did have an art box with it, like most of their pieces do. And they have boxes like XM. So they're black and they fit really tight. Showed up black foam on the inside. Not too many pieces, but there are a lot of display options. So the base itself is one piece. Psylocke's body minus her right hand, head, and swords is another piece. And then talking about display options, there's a lot going on. So first of all, you can see this right here. She can display both hands where she holds her swords or katanas. And her swords can actually face forward like this, or you can take the swords and make them face backwards. Both really cool, both work very well. Also, another thing is, as you see here, here's the eye of the Sentinel. You can leave it blank like this if she's holding both swords. However, if you want, you can actually stick the sword into the eye, which is what I'm going to do. That looks fabulous. Or you can use her right arm instead of the sword for her psychic knife or whatever it's called. I can't remember. Which this is, you know, Psylocke is a very secondary character in a lot of ways, but she's extremely powerful. And I remember growing up, she had, you know, from telekinesis to, I think she, you know, teleporting, and I don't think she could read minds, but she could create energy weapons and things like that. And not to mention, she becomes pretty much a ninja, like, you know, so that's pretty damn cool too. But also, she has a number of switch outs. So the first switch out here is kind of what her masked version is, which is one of my favorites. Then another one, unmasked. She has this long ponytail flowing to the side. And then the last one, which I don't like at all, and we're going to review all of these, this one very briefly. She has her kind of telekinesis power coming out of the front. And unfortunately in shipping, there was a paint chip on this on the hair right here. But since I hate the portrait, I don't really care. And maybe, you know, maybe I can try my try painting. I've never tried it before, so I'll try painting a statue on that portrait. Maybe make her hair all black or something just to switch it up and see how I do. Can't really mess up black paint, can you? I don't know. If you're a painter, please comment on that. So, yeah, very excited to get her. I'm extremely ecstatic. Let's measure. Yeah, I just keep looking at it, especially the base. The base is a great part of this. So, huge base. It's 20 inches deep, give or take. It's about 17 inches wide. And height-wise, she's about 22 inches. And I think some people have actually customized this, where Sideshow's premium format Wolverine, if you don't know what that is, go check out my review on it. It was also in the picture I showed on this table of all the X-Men. They put her on the Sentinel hand that Wolverine has, and they put Wolverine on top of this. So that'd be kind of cool to do too, but I'm going to leave it like this because I like it a lot. So let's talk about why I like it a lot, the concept and the design. First of all, I think the design is really good. She only fits in with one peg right here, but her other foot is resting. And I like the different switch outs, the different portraits. One thing I did forget, her belt right here actually pins in, flaying part of that. So I think they did a great job. I don't think there's ever going to be any lean issues. I like the fact that you can switch out the swords or, you know, any direction you want. And we'll do close-ups here, but the swords look fabulous too. So design, no issues other than the delivery issue with the paint. Concept, pretty simple. It's what's going on right now. The big popularity of X-Men vs. Sentinel statues. Here is a Sentinel head, and I think they nailed the likeness of a Sentinel head on this. This is probably, I love it. I think this is spot on. I think the size is perfect. And she is on top of it. She's just destroyed it. There's some not slash marks, but energy burns throughout the piece. So you can tell that she just destroyed it. She's sitting on it, victorious, ready to attack another Sentinel. Really, really cool. I think this Sentinel head, it's the biggest Sentinel head I have. I think I have two other ones, but this is perfect. I like the size. I hate the fact of how much real estate it's going to take up. And a lot of times when we have really large bases, you think they should have done it smaller. I don't think this should be done smaller. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to, for the sake of it, I haven't seen this yet, but I'll take the picture after. Let me put up Sideshow Maquette Magneto to show you the difference in Sentinel head size. So here this is right here. I'm assuming this one is much bigger. I haven't seen it yet, side by side. So I like this concept because in my mind, Sentinels are this big. So well done. So let's talk about the paint and sculpt. A lot going on here, so I'll try and kind of rush through some of the stuff, but look at the different parts of the Sentinel head here. First of all, you have as I said, kind of burn marks. The paint looks fabulous. It's this faded purple and black and gray and blue all mixed together, and you always think of Sentinels in the future, and there's a lot of wear and damage and battle going on. And I like the sculpt and the different cracks that are in it. And there's different parts where kind of the guts are spilling out, some wires right here, some metallic wires and coils. And then even by his eye is almost glowing, the one that the sword isn't in. And then again, some more tubes and coils coming out. Then looking at his face here with his nose, they have that skin tone color that is used a lot in the comics, and even I think a little bit in the cartoons. You can see his mouth and the metallic parts about that, and some more of the blue up here. And then here's some of those burn marks I was talking about it that looks like she just scorched right through. And then her sword actually goes in right below that, so that makes a lot of sense. I love the Sentinel head. I seriously just stared at this thing for about 15 minutes, and I'm still staring at it right now. But moving on to the rock part, this particular company, I have another piece that has a Sentinel base from them, and the rock is very similar. I don't like it. It's just too plain. I understand that it's, you know, black for scorched, but I think there could have been some more texture, some more variation in the color. It's not bad, it's just not my favorite. And it's such a small piece of the base. If you're really staring at the rock and not the statue and the Sentinel head, then you're too big of a critic. And as we move up to Psylocke, there's going to be some things going on here that really surprised me. First of all, I'll just kind of let the cat out of the bag. The portraits, there's some things I really like and some things I'm not a fan of. And her lower half of her body, the anatomy is perfect for a real woman in her upper 30s, 40s, 50s. It is not real for a comic book heroine. A heroine? How do you say that? Not heroine like that, but, you know, female antagonist or protagonist. I'm totally out of it. It looks like what many women do. Not my wife, because she's skinny as hell. Everyone hates her. She had 3 kids and she eats cake and shit like that all the time, and she'd probably be mad I'm talking about her, but she doesn't watch this. So her lower half anatomy is very accurate to a human being. So when we go into that, if you see, you know, kind of, I don't want to say like jello arms or thunder thighs, stuff like that. So also with that, I do want to say, if that's what they were going for, they nailed it. If they were trying to go for a really athletic heroine, I got to find out if I'm saying that right, then they missed it. But I kind of like the fact that not every single character is super muscular, super athletic, and has a body that you and I will probably never have. So let's start. Her shoes, boots, I don't like the bottom of them. They're smooth on the back. There should have been some texture in there, and they kind of look like a weird shape, almost like she has clown shoes. And it might be just how crouched she is. Maybe her toes are too bent over. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. And what's interesting is one of her boots goes all the way up above her knee, and the other one just goes to kind of her calf. But within her boots, there's a seam line, and there's a few folds in there that look good, and it's her classic costume, that shiny blue. And on the boot that doesn't go up to her knee, you really see some of the musculature, I'm having issues saying stuff today, in between the blue straps. And again, this is where it's real. It looks like what a human would look like. It doesn't look like a typical statue or a comic character, but those straps that continue to go up have some more folds in them in the sculpt, and they're solid blue color. And then here you see the thunder thighs I was talking about, especially right in her pelvic area. This looks like a real human being. She looks like that's where all of, you know, her Twinkies go to. And kind of the same with her ass. Really good looking ass if you like big butts. Not my flavor, but unfortunately whatever Psylocke eats, that's pretty much where it goes to. But great job on her uniform. Again, it's kind of stuck in her ass crack, which would be very accurate. You can see the folds right in there. And then her sash around her waist looks great. I love the color contrast of the red and the black on there, with the black X for X-Men, and then the rest of it kind of flowing in the wind, the piece that comes off. Moving up to her torso, again, she doesn't have a six-pack or anything like that, but you can definitely tell she's athletic. So I like that they didn't really overemphasize her muscles. And the same flow of the costume that was on her boots and on her pelvic area. Then she's got huge boobs, which makes sense because if she's eating a lot and she kind of has those thunder thighs and big ass, it would follow the anatomy. Of course, you rarely see a female statue without huge tits. And then I think they did a good job with her shoulders and her arms. Looks pretty good. I think it's a good skin tone. We didn't really talk about it on the bottom. It's decently pale, but there's a few different shades in there. And you can really see the definition, you know, from her armpits to her shoulders and the bones in there. So really good sculpt on that. I like that a lot. And then moving down her arms, She has her classic Psylocke, I don't even know what those are called, arm coverings. Somebody educate me. Again, same flow as her boots, nothing really new there, but it looks good. Then on her fingers, great sculpt on her fingers, looks really, really good. And usually when you see someone's fingers grasping something, it's not so good. They're kind of mixed together. These look fantastic. The one exception is the nails. They didn't really, you know, it's kind of hard to see that she even has nails. I don't know if there's a picture of that or not. And then looking at the sword, like I told you, the swords look really good. I like the wrapping on the handle, the hilt of the sword. They're not metal, but they're a strong material. They may be metal, I'm not really sure. And then her energy weapon, this clear, transparent, pinkish, reddish resin, looks great. You can actually see light through it. So if you have light shining on her, that'll actually light up some, which is really neat. And then I want to start just briefly with the portrait that I hate. Biggest reason I hate it, I'm just going to say this and move on. Look at her lips. They look disconnected, and her teeth in the middle. Huge miss. And then probably my second favorite portrait, the one with the ponytail. So I think the flesh tones are good. I think the lipstick is a little bit too bright, even though I am a big fan of red lipstick. Her eyebrows, I think they look like one line, but that's kind of the character. A lot of times she's portrayed, you know, with that type of look. I wish there would have been, you know, more hairlines within her eyebrows. It almost looks like they were painted on. She actually doesn't have eyebrows. Then her eyes look okay. It's weird. Sometimes I look at it and it looks like a decal. Sometimes it looks like glass. And then I'm not a fan of the makeup around the eyes, but overall I think the sculpt and the expression of the portrait is good. But the hair on it, as you see right here, is really good. I love the flow of this. I love how long it is. There's different strands coming out. Really, really cool. And I really like the fact that the hair is completely different on each portrait, where a lot of times it's just the expression or the mouth open or mouth closed. And here's the hair on the last portrait, probably my favorite portrait. Again, it's not a ponytail, it's just going straight down, and you see different strands in there, and it's kind of flowing like it was before. But then looking at the portrait again, the eyes, I like the makeup a little bit better on the eyes. It's not as apparent right below it. She still has the same eyebrow issue. Then she has the mask covering her nose and mouth, but you can still distinctly see her nose and mouth. And this is probably how I'm going to display it, because my next Psylocke doesn't have this option. So if I keep both of them, it would make sense to have it like this. But again, same feedback on the flesh tones and the eyes. I like the fact that they are orange. She's utilizing her power. So this was a really unplanned review as far as, I actually didn't expect this. I thought this was the other piece that was supposed to arrive from them. It was a black Superman, clothing black Superman. So that's actually going to go up for review. Today's Sunday, that'll go up for review Tuesday. But yeah, really excited to get the piece, and I usually don't plan what I say at all, and I didn't, that was the case here. So let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you follow Psylocke at all. But yeah, I'm a huge fan, mostly because of the base, but she looks pretty damn cool too. So if you ever have a chance to get one, definitely one of the Psylockes to go. Maybe a little bit better than Sideshows. Thank you, I'm here all week. So drop a comment. If you have not subscribed, 55% of the people watching lately aren't subscribers. Go ahead and subscribe. I drop cool shit like this all the time. You may not like me, but I know you'll like shit like this. So thanks so much for watching. Take care.